everyone, welcome. I really appreciate you all being here, celebrating Mario Day with me. So the setup we have is on the main screen. Over here, this is the video. This is our community best. What we've done is we've taken one of my runs, and I've replaced all of my gameplay with the best IL in the community. And a little bit confusing because our ILs are actually measured in in-game time, and I did take the best RTA time, so slight difference there. No one in our community has done a full task, so this is going to be the first time we're actually seeing how close are we to perfection in this run. I currently hold the world record. These are my splits below. I will be retiming the run as we go through. I have a loose idea of what the new runtime is because I know how long the video is, but I have not officially timed this, so this will also be my first time seeing what our new world's best time could be for this particular category. At the very bottom of the screen is the current world record. I'm going to try to start it at about the same time as the video, but wish me luck. I haven't done this before, so we'll just kind of see how this goes. So I'm going to start the video, and then we're just going to hopefully hit the split button at about the right time. And someone please remind me to split World 11. I never remember to split World 11, and I really want to get all the splits in for this one. So here we go. There it is. We've officially started. And I'm already behind on starting the world record video, so it'll be a little bit behind for the beginning, but we are underway. This is the SMC Any Community Best Run, so again, this, at least four is a good guess. This is all of the best runs of each individual level stitched together as if they were one run. This is not intended to be submitted to any leaderboards. This would very clearly be cheating, and it will be a very obvious amount of cheating as well, because many videos are from different runners, and so they will not actually match in style. A lot of the community uses their phone to record because the 3DS is handheld. But we're already off in World 1. This one is from me, because I'm the only one who I think is a stair jump in World 1 on my video. World 1, everyone has a tie for in in-game time. Everyone gets an 11-second in-game time. Just if you played this level reasonably well, you will get that. The mythical 10-second is what we're all aiming for. There is the stair jump. That is something I can sometimes get in runs, but we're already off to like our first neat little trick. If anyone ever manages to actually get a legitimate 10-second in this level, that would be fantastic, and everyone would be very, very excited about it. But for now, 11 seconds is the best time that we have. And that is one where our in-game time, real time, the route for both is the same. Same goes for 1, 2. The route that we're going to use for both our in-game time and our real time, so our any % route, are going to be the same. The real difference with this one is, usually on this level, I do not look this clean. I do not take this particular section as aggressively. So these blocks, optimally, you want to just barely jump on top of them. And if you do that, that's how you get a really fast time. You're looking for a 287 going into that first door. If you have a 287 on the first door and you don't just mess up this last part, you will tie the IL for this one. So if you're trying to get this IL, 287 door timer is one of the signals that you're on the right track. Oh, I hit my desk. Hopefully that didn't sound too loud on stream. Oh, we're already 2 levels in. I'm so excited for this. 1-3 is another level that just everyone's tied on. So there are some levels that everyone is tied on, and there's no way to be faster or slower than anyone else. These are levels that are very straightforward. They don't have any moving platforms, any conveyor belts, and 1-3 being an example of this. For any of those levels, I tried to pick one of the earlier times on leaderboards, so one of the first people to get that time. So this is the first time where now you get to see Polonxy. So Polonxy is another runner in the community. We do have a total of, I believe, 7 or 8 different runners featured in this video. And it was not like I was trying to pick different people or pick, you know, people that I knew. It was legitimately, I went through and retimed everything that I could time and found who, down to the frames, had the fastest runs in each of these categories. The intent, again, is to do the fastest possible run. This next one is actually from Pango5, who's in chat, so hello. Without corner boost. I know I don't have corner boost for that one yet. This was actually specially recorded just for this video. And that was because at the time of recording this video, I realized I didn't have a good any % route for this, because my old any % video that I had recorded before did a dumb thing that didn't make any sense. And so Pango was nice enough to specifically record a new 1-4 video for this showcase so that we could have a time that didn't look quite as silly. So shout outs to Pango there. Lizzie Berry, your greatest rival in speedrunning. Lizzie, feel free to check on this video and see whether or not our community best is close to your PB for our race coming up. Oh shoot, I'm supposed to be splitting. Well, I already missed my first split. We're off to a great start, team. Yay! You can see though that already, I know that the world record video was going to be a little bit behind because I started a bit late, but already we are ahead of world record by a decent amount. For world record, you won't be able to see sort of the bottom screen. I did try to put an effort into getting the bottom screen to show up for this so you can see like the text matching that's happening while we're just sort of waiting on these world screens, but we'll have to see. So this one is from Polonxy. This strat I do not attempt in my actual runs. It's a little hard to see, but basically on the 3DS there are 2 buttons for jump. at any given point in time, and if you alternate and smash them very, very quickly, you will swim twice as fast. This was discovered when someone tried to use a turbo controller, which is not allowed in our community due to the fact that very few people would have access to a turbo controller, given that most people do run on an actual 3DS. It is not fun to try to get this IL. Polonxy was the first one to get it without using turbo, so that's why his video is featured, and oh my goodness, it's just a lot of very fast button mashing. You kind of have to set your 3DS down, for me at least, to get the right rhythm going, so definitely something I don't do in runs, but that can be done faster. So even the underwater level has some optimizations you might not have seen. I think there was one stream where I tried it and then died 3 times and gave up. For 2-2, I believe we're back to Pengo? Question mark? Yeah, called it. And for this one, you'll see a lot faster of a grab for this leaf, so this is much more dangerous. But you'll see he grabs the leaf on the way up as opposed to on the way down. And then from here as well, you're going to see him jump on the P-switch as it's coming out of the block. Whereas normally if you see me run, you'll see me pick it up and carry it with me for a bit before flinging it off the side and jumping on top of it. Not a huge difference, but again, we're looking for the absolute best we can possibly do. One thing that was kind of fun for me in this video is trying to figure out what other strats do I want to learn. Because I will be racing Lizzie Berry, who's in chat, next week, and so I want to find as many strats as possible to improve so I have a chance at getting close to her time. It'll be a lot of fun. Yay! Polonxy also ties this time. Polonxy ties this time in IGT. You did win out Pengo in terms of the actual RTA time. I did time every single IGT tie that I thought could be broken. So I didn't retime 1-3 because like you can't break that tie, but I did retime anything that had any sort of movement optimization whatsoever. So this one I did retime for everyone. Mine was the fastest. That shell jump right there, like where you hit the Koopa and then have to knock it shell forward, that's one of the reasons that this video happens to be pretty fast. The second one is going to be another instance of the stair jump. So there's 4 possible stair jumps in this entire speedrun. This is obviously going to showcase all 4. That's the second of 4. The later 2 aren't going to show up until I think World 11 and 12, so we got some time before we get to those. I actually have a giant spreadsheet, and any level that had ties, where the in-game times were the same but I thought the RTA times might be different, I retimed every single one of those levels by everyone who submitted whose start and end times I could determine. So if their video was fuzzy at the beginning, which is allowed because you only need to show the end of your screen, I can't use that for this video because I need a definitive start time to line everything up. Here is one of the strategies you might not have seen on stream. Look at how optimized this is. Pengo's going to jump and make sure that he's falling as those blocks turn back into coins in order to hit the ground as freaking soon as possible. This route I have done before was sort of grabbing the P-switch and jumping. This is the same start, but he's actually going to do a P-switch jump in midair. That's going to give him a little bit of extra speed and he won't have to climb up any of the pyramid. He lands precariously close to the edge of the platform with a pipe on it, but that's to get in the pipe as soon as possible. Again, saving every single little sliver of time that we possibly can in this particular video. Another P-switch jump here, very unnecessary for any percent, but it does give you a small speed boost, so if we're looking for best possible times, that's what we're looking for today. I should have water. What'd you say you're racing? I am playing this game and Lizzie Berry is playing Nier Automata. And we're gonna see who's faster. This will be for a hotfix show next Friday the 18th. I think it's gonna be at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific if I have my times right. As you can see, the community best is already... Did I forget to split again? Oh, actually, I don't know if I can split because I'm not listening. This is gonna be fun. I'll try to time it. Huh. Maybe I shouldn't be in charge of splitting. Next year, if we do something like this, someone else is in charge of hitting the splits, because apparently I can't do it. But you can see that already we're pulling pretty far ahead of the world record video. Like I said, I started a little bit late, but not this far. It isn't even out of World 2 yet, so we've definitely saved a lot of time, even just through these first 2 worlds. 3-1 is... Oh, this is our first time we see Darker Lord. So this level is another one that very barely has a difference. Watch his jump here, off this platform here. There it is.
Oh my gosh.
You can actually hear him verbally go like, whoa, what happened there too? It's really fun. And that's because I think that specific jump is what made his time the fastest out of everyone who did 1-3. And that's because those moving platforms very slightly are moving to the left and they can slow Mario down. That's my hypothesis. I haven't gone in and measured it, but he's the only one who has that type of jump in his video and he's the fastest video. So that's my theory for that one in particular. Enjoyed listening to me at Frost Patels? Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. 2 split times. Yeah, I should try. This one is one of the ones that just everyone can tie on, so it didn't really make a huge difference. Again, kind of tried to do the first one, but yeah, this is just a pretty straightforward level where as long as you're running to the right and not hitting anything, you will tie the RTA time perfectly. There's no moving platforms to speed you up or slow you down. It's just a straight shot to the end of the level. We do have a few of those. but not too many as you start to look through things. Even the auto scrollers are things that I ended up retiming, because depending on the auto scroller type, there is a case where you might get a very slightly better ending time or transition time on certain levels. We'll actually see that in 5.4. I was surprised at which video was the fastest for that level, but we're currently in 3.3. So 3.3, the main thing here is getting the star very, very quickly and using the any % route. The in-game time route for the IL actually takes a pipe and does a little tiny shortcut, but that's not very efficient in real time because the pipes take up 6 seconds, 3 in, 3 out. So instead, getting the star optimally and then just trying to do these little jumps here. It may be possible to get all the way to the top of that final staircase or to do some type of stair jump, but no one I think has been able to fully pull it off, or at least I didn't know where the video evidence of that was. You can see poor world record is still just getting the star in that last level, so plenty of time to go. Hello, Cat! Oh, it's so good to see you. This is a cool run. I'm really excited about this. I'm so excited about looking at us as a community and seeing, like, what can we do together. So 3.4 is our first auto-scroller, and this one I did time every single one of those missions that tied this. Let's see if I have that up. I don't know if I have it up and handy to talk about that one. Yes I do. I think I might be able to just share it in chat. I don't know if anyone would want to follow along. But if I click all the way over, oh wait, no, I didn't have to retime this one. So the reason that this time and my time in this one is the fastest is because I specifically don't get any power-ups in this particular video. When I do a normal any % run, heck yeah, I'm getting a mushroom, because do you see all this chaos? I'm not dealing with that. But in the version that I submitted for my IL, I did not get any power-ups specifically because it is faster RTA to not get power-ups. They cost half a second every time you get one and every time you lose one. Most other submissions, I think actually every other submission did get a mushroom because in in-game time it's free to do, so there's no real reason why you would need to for your in-game time, but that's the difference that makes this video the fastest out of all of them, is that it just doesn't get power-ups. And that'll be a theme that you'll see a couple other times as well, is not getting power-ups, not taking hits, is going to help speed videos up quite a bit. So that'll be one of the times where you'll see things desync from the endgame leaderboards. And no one should, yeah, I should not split anything. We're like a minute. We're doing great. We're doing great. I should have tried to figure out if I could listen to the video so I could actually do splits. It's fine. I think you get the idea. It's fast. I will at least get the final splits. The good news is the reason I'm missing all these splits is because I use an audio cue and I can't actually hear the video right now. But for the final split, the actual official end time, that is a visual cue, so I don't need the audio for that one. We're on to World 4 though. This is another one of those everyone can tie this time, so Polonxy was one of the first runners to do this, and here is his video. There are a few runs I was not able to include. I was running a bit late on this project, and I didn't want to take anyone's video without permission, so every video that you see in here, I did get permission from the runner themselves to include it. That does mean that a couple times were left out, but I think the overall delta was like 0.2 seconds worth of time difference between the absolute fastest time and the times I was able to include in this video. So not much of a difference at all. Not enough to realistically change a bunch of the time. 4.2, what are we doing with 4.2? So 4.2, one of the biggest things here is the feather at the beginning of the level is RNG. You just will show up randomly. So in the IL, you just keep doing the beginning of the IL over and over and over again until you get the fast feather pattern, which is not the most fun thing to do, but it's there. Polonxy, that video is old? Yes, because that level is one of the ones that everyone does, so the videos at the beginning of it are just very ancient. But it's fun to kind of go back and see how everything looked. Getting all the rates for this was interesting though, so trying to deal with all the different frame rates was kind of a problem. I think everything from like 30 and 60 are pretty common frame rates. 25 was another one that showed up quite a bit. 59, another great frame rate. 29, both of those were pretty common. 14 is a frame rate that we've seen before, which is not a fun one to deal with. I don't think I was able to use anything less than like 20 because it was too hard to tell when the run actually started compared to like, you just lose so much data in between in terms of trying to time things precisely, which is what I needed to do for this. Do everything at 50 FPS? So many different things. RNG pipes are kind of the worst. So for 4.3, this is a propeller level. This is definitely a place where there could be more time saved. So there are two tied times for this. My time, which is the one we're seeing because it was just barely faster, and Polonxy's, which is basically just as fast, it just missed a few frames on this one. and they have different strategies that save time over each other. So if you would like to see the full picture for this particular level, I would definitely encourage you to check out Polonxy's version of the strats as well, because in the current any % route, we do borrow from both sets of strats that were developed at around the same time for this particular route. This is where we see the propeller hat for the first time. It's kind of an obnoxious item. For anyone who doesn't know, you just sort of spin around and it's slow to fall down, so you try to avoid falling down after spinning. So for here, I'm trying to land close to those ledges, so I'm wasting as little time as possible. Here's directly spinning down to avoid doing the slow falling piece, and you'll see a little bit more of some interesting tech that shows up later on as we get more propeller levels. But for now, this is sort of your introduction to flying in the propeller. Is there IL videos at any % videos? These are videos that are on our IL leaderboards that I have implanted into an any % video, but some of the IL levels I did time to find out which ones would be fastest for any %, and if someone had a time that was an any % version of an IL, I would take it into consideration. So there's a couple levels where outdated routes for the IL are actually faster for any %, so I was able to compare videos there. The goal for this is to look at any %, but ILs are where people tend to get some of the fastest times, so it made sense to draw from there. One of the things that bothered me is I actually had 2 videos for a lot of different levels. I redid a lot of my videos because this was how I used to record on my phone, and now I can record on my computer and it's way nicer. I was disappointed to find out that some of my older times were actually better than my newer times, and so in the spirit of making the fastest video possible, I unfortunately had to use some of my old videos as well. So this is pre-capture card Char Bunny content right here, which you never would have seen on stream because I didn't stream until I got my capture card. But this is the fastest version of this level, mostly dependent on that small middle section where you're doing a little loop-de-loop to get underneath the area as quickly as possible. Damage boosting is it's a whole thing. Yes, IL video is optimized for RTA time. Exactly, that is the correct answer. Yes. So one of the strats in that Pango's calling out the Phantom Jump in 4.3, I believe, that's no longer possible on current patch, but we do have some strats that are equivalently quick for IGT at least. And for this video, it felt like it made sense to include this. So we're already out of World 4, which means I missed a split again. Feel free to also take your bet on whether or not I'll get a single split out of 18 for this entire run. No, that's not true. A single split out of 17. I'll get the 18th one, I think. We'll see. The title confused you? Yeah, Community Best is not... I couldn't quite figure out what to title this, but that was... I said... settled on Community Best. So the key thing to watch out in this video from Polonxy is going to be the shell jump he's going to do here. So he grabs the shell, he's going to do a mid-air shell jump, and that's going to let him skip one of those spring climbing sections that you have to do. This is the second spring climbing section. He did have to do this one normally, but that's what makes this particular video faster than all the others. That's not something anyone that I know of has done as part of an actual any % attempt, because that's difficult. Would take a lot of specific practice and doesn't really seem like it's worth it yet, but that is one of the tricks that we could start incorporating if we start to get consistent at those. So that's one that, again, you never would have seen if you only watched my stream and you haven't watched the rest of the community, because this is like IL only stuff. That's one of the reasons I was so excited to show it all off today. Yay. Yeah, so some of Polonxy's videos, I did actually swap out the audio, so if you don't hear jumping in Polonxy's videos, you don't hear the Mario sound effects, that is just because the background audio was a bit messy, and so I switched it out for something a bit nicer for the video. Here, the Pango's using similar strats to what we do. The actual IL is to do a spring jump early, and for any %, we usually do a much safer strat where we throw the spring and then jump off of it in midair. If you missed that one, you get to retry it. If you missed that strat, you don't. So he did a very aggressive version of it, which is why his video happens to be the fastest on this particular one. Difficult to follow that one? They go fast! That's part of the problem with the best strats ever, is that they zoom by. They go very, very quickly. So I'm trying my best to keep up some explanation, but like I can't keep up with everything, especially in 5.3. So this is definitely a highlight one to watch. This is going to be Pango again, using a combination of strats from across all the runners. The first thing that he does differently that you wouldn't have seen before is he's going to skip the second spring in this room. If you watch me do this run, I always use that second spring. He does a very specific type of spring jump to get all the way around, sort of around the world, and come back on the other side. For this pipe, he's going to use Polonxy's strat of doing a spin jump in midair to get up to the switch, but you'll notice he didn't get a coin. For anyone who's watched me do any %, we get a coin to create a shortcut, but watch this next trick carefully. I'm just going to let it play. Polonxy found that like the freaking day after I got this record, and I was kind of mad because I was like, seriously, that's so dang cool! And also my time's obsolete. This is one of the few places though where we could save time over this particular run, because this pipe switch is my contribution to this level. Woo, exciting! And it's to reset the cycle for this final banner. In real time, it's unlikely that you'd want to do that pipe switch versus just waiting for the banner to get to the position you want it to be in. but I don't think anyone wants to go try to redo all of those very incredibly difficult strats just for an RTA hypothesis video. So that is a spot where when we look at our final time, note that we can still save time over this video, even though this video is really, really good. So 5-4 is one of the levels I talked about earlier, where it's an auto-scroller, but I was surprised about which one won. So ThatBox actually is the fastest time here. And normally when I think about optimizing this level, I think about when to grab the star partway through so that we can line up the ending section so we're not waiting for a certain corridor to form. But this middle section of the level, and I didn't know this, is actually in the middle scroll speed. And so watch his pipe entry here. The pipe, only like a pixel of it will be on screen when he goes through. That's the time save that beat every other video out there. His actual star section I don't think is quite as optimal, but because that pipe entry was so good, he didn't bounce off the wall, he got it as soon as that pipe was on screen. That's why this video is the fastest. Here is going to be the section, or not quite yet. There we go. This is where we grab the star. You'll see that runners will wait here. That's to line up a timing. On the right side of the screen in a little bit, we're going to see that there's a tiny vertical corridor, and we want to get there right there as soon as it spawns. That's usually, again, what I look out for in optimization, but turns out there's something else that maybe I should figure out. It's kind of like 8-3, where the timing is about getting those transitions lined up. I tried. Tell me if I was close to splitting that time, but I remembered to approximately split something, so we're making progress. So already we are 40 seconds ahead of world record and 20 seconds above my personal summer best, so clearly I got some catching up to do. Oh my goodness. Yeah, 5-3 is a very, very technical level to try to do. It's unlikely that I'll incorporate those into my any percent strats anytime soon, because they're very, very risky. I take the safest route out of any of the current runners for 5-3, in fact, but it's really cool to see what's there. 6-1, I want to say, is Polonxy's video again. This one's about optimizing some movement around the corners. So as you can see, there's a lot of jumping up around these pillar-like objects that are sort of set up and trying to get momentum so you're at a higher speed as you go around them is what saves you time on this level and gives Polonxy the fastest time. For this ending, I don't know if we've really done a ton of digging into whether or not it's actually faster to skip the damage boost here, but it looks really cool to skip that final spring, so we do it anyway. Basically, you can land underneath the spring on that platform to avoid slowing down by jumping on the spring. When you jump on a spring like that, it kind of halts some of your momentum and it slows you down, but by going through it, you can get some really cool things to happen. World 5 time save, I know. Well, this isn't just World 5, I missed every split up until World 5. So this is the cumulative total for Worlds 1 through 5, that's why it's that much. 6-2, this is again one that anyone can tie, so Polonxy's was one of the first ones on the list that I was able to contact, so I did again reach out to a couple other runners, didn't hear back in time for the video, so I was not able to use everyone's videos for this, but again, the delta is very, very small between the few videos that I wasn't able to include and what we do have for this video here. Polonxy, feel free to update them if you don't want them to be old videos, but that's what my logic was, is I didn't want to just be arbitrarily picking videos, so I went by the first person to have done it that I was able to include. That was my logic here. So 6-3, here's a strat. That's Tat's speed at the beginning of this level. I almost never do that, because while I think JuiceACD does go for it in his run, so some any percent runners do attempt that beginning skip, I hate this level so much that I never want to die on it, and it would like be psychic damage to miss that. And so I just don't go for it because it'd make me too sad. That's something that I could probably learn how to do, but again, just losing a run on 6-3 just is sad. The rest of this is going to be mostly the same. We're going to have one more major time save, which is going to be at the end of this first auto-scroll section. This is, again, a type of level that's kind of like a platform scroller combined with an auto-scroller, just the worst of both worlds, where we're going to do a one death-defying jump at the very end of this section to get to the final platform a little bit sooner than normal, but we got some time before we get there. Nice little memory. That makes sense. Okay, 20 minutes in, I'm ready to say this video is fire. Right, I am so happy with this video. I'm also a little bit sleep deprived right now because this is what I've been working on like all night because I just really wanted to have it ready for Mario Day today. So I appreciate that people are here enjoying it with me and hopefully also admiring some of the technical prowess that goes into these ILs that you don't get to see during my any percent runs. So here is the skip. It's just trying to get to that platform as soon as possible. If you look carefully, the goal is to just land with Mario's toes on that platform. That's how you know you've done it optimally. The other thing here is skipping that checkpoint. Again, getting a power-up loses half a second. So if you get that checkpoint, you will get a mushroom along with it if you don't have one, and therefore you will lose half a second. So for ILs, it doesn't matter because it's in-game time and the power-ups don't count against in-game time, but for any percent, it does save time to skip the checkpoint. Now the thing is, if you're in a race or any other no reset situation, do you really want to have to replay this level from the beginning? It may be worth it to get that checkpoint even with the half-second time loss just to keep you sort of sane and safe. If you're going for any percent attempts at this point, and you're one of the top 3 runners-ish, if you die on this level, you reset. So getting the checkpoint at that point isn't really worth it. You can skip it and save that half a second because, again, like especially for me, if I die on this level, we're resetting. I don't care how soon after the checkpoint it was a death on 6-3, we're starting over. Probably not the best mentality, but you know what? At least I know what I'm about, you know? Happy Mario Day! Happy Mario Day to you too! Is anyone else doing fun things for Mario Day? This is my Mario Day plan. I put up some Mario Party decorations behind me too that I had left over from a birthday party that I had. And this isn't like a birthday party from when I was 5 either. This was like my 25th birthday party or something. They were at Target and like I could buy them because I'm an adult and I can do that. So we have Mario Party decorations. Yay, see? I have more of them. I just didn't have time to put them up. Oh, can everyone hear me okay by the way? I just realized my microphone's in a different spot than normal. I'm hoping that's okay. Let me know if there's any audio issues. I did try to test things beforehand, but not sure I got them all. 6-4, back to Polonxy's videos. I thought this was one of the coolest things when I saw it for the first time, and this is one of my 5 favorite aisles to try to get. The one thing that we did find as a community at some point that might make this one faster than what you see here is this section right here. You can actually get to that conveyor belt without landing on the springs at the bottom. This was accidentally discovered by me while I was practicing for a marathon appearance, and I was practicing my commentary and like paused in the middle of my commentary trying to figure out what the heck just happened because I'd never seen it before. Oh my goodness. See the decor, love it, thanks, cute, love it, yay! I tried to make it festive. Oh shoot, that was a split again. You know what? I should just stop timing this and just put the word fast on screen. I wonder if I can do that while we're live. Here, text. Fast. Fast. There. That's just gonna be our permanent previous split for the fact that I can't seem to keep them straight whatsoever. All better now. All better. Alright, 7-1. 7-1, we're back to one of my videos. This is using a strategy where you specifically avoid getting a mushroom. There are 2 IGT strategies that are pretty much equivalent. Either you get a mushroom and go through the chain chomp, or you do what I do here and go around the chain chomp from the front. Because in real time, getting a mushroom loses time, the going around the chain chomp strat is the faster of those 2. So if you want to get a good any percent time, you want to start learning that around the chain chomp strat. That strat is far more dangerous though, so at least for me it scares me and sometimes I chicken out and go for the mushroom strat anyway. And then I die anyway because I'm scared and it's just a whole fun adventure. Yay! The audio? Is it okay or was that from the keyboard smashing that I was doing to type fast? Apologies, my keyboard is very loud. 7-2, back to me. I don't know if I got Bob in this one. Maybe I should have checked that before we did this. This may be invalid. The key reason that my in-game time, or my real time is faster than a lot of the other runs here is because, again, I don't get the power up. So in the second half of this level, most runners will get a leaf when they're doing the in-game time because it doesn't hurt your IGT time and it makes it so you don't have to worry about getting hit by Bowser. And for the very end of the level, you're falling into the ending. And if you have a leaf, you can sort of flutter down into it and it gives you a much larger range to hit that extra, or that ending accurately. Whereas, okay good, I did get Bob, the run's still valid. I wasn't sure. I was like, what if this run is really old and I didn't get Bob? And then I have to say, never mind everyone, the video's gone. Sorry, Mario Day's canceled. This one mushroom that we're seeing on screen, by the way, is Bob. He's one of our favorite characters in the run. He is on screen longer than pretty much anything else in the game and is one of our few allies, so we always like to say hi to Bob, so please feel free to say hi to Bob and wish Bob happy Mario Day. So here's what I mean at the ending. You'll see that I have to time a fall into that square in order to finish the end as optimally as possible. If you have the leaf power up, you can flutter down into it. It makes it way easier to hit. But again, that's a time loss from getting the power up. Here's the question, where are the bunnies in this run? Sadly, this run has like 0 bunnies. It's a real tragedy. But if we need bunnies, then Guess who has a bunny within reach at all times? For this level, by the way, the key thing that we're doing, set the bunny down, is I don't get the safety shelmet. When we do any percent, we usually get a safety shelmet because the very end of this level is RNG. It's Hammer Brothers. You can, for this last Hammer Brother that you'll see, either go above it or through this block, which is what I do here, which is a really cool looking strat. Very difficult to read the Hammer Brother fast enough to do this accurately, which is why we get a shelmet and then we never have to worry about the randomness at the end of the level. So we save time here on this particular segment just by not getting a shelmet and being really, really good. And by that I mean we've tried it 100, like this took a lot of tries to record, I'm sure. 7-4, once again, checkpoint skip is going to be a thing where we try not to get a checkpoint. This is one of the harder checkpoints to skip. It's not the hardest, that honor goes to 14-4. But specifically, one of the time saves here, besides sort of movement left and right as we go up this little corridor, is going to be getting a precise jump to skip the checkpoint in this level without losing speed. So just skipping the checkpoint isn't too bad, but I have to jump here and then here again to just barely get around that checkpoint without running into the question mark block. That's the main time save for this one. Oh wait, sorry, I'm behind. Oh, thanks everyone for saying hi to Bob. I appreciate it. I know, I'm so glad I have bunnies just always constantly nearby. Oh shoot, when's the timer for this? There-ish. Approximately there. We're gonna go with that. So based on my guess at when the split is, it's 10 seconds better than my personal best times ever, and we're already almost a minute ahead of world record, coming out of World 7, which is not that far into the run. So we're really making good progress. You can see we're almost a level ahead on the world record screen. The world record is just now getting through the beginning of that final level there, so plenty of progress. I think we only run games with bunnies. That sounds awesome. Somehow I only run games that don't have bunnies, and it's kind of tragic. Here we get to 8-1. This is rptem's run. I was really excited that rptem made it into the video. I think the key thing for this one is going to be around using the conveyor belt at the end and using a pretty tight corridor drop here. So we do lose the power, but it might be faster to keep it, but there we're trying to cut a corner, and then here we're trying to get a boost from that conveyor belt to carry us toward the end of the level, and that's where the time save comes in that makes the smallest difference in breaking the tie on this particular level. This is another level where there's many tied runs when you look at just the in-game time, but when you look at the real time, things start to shift a little tiny bit. There's that little bit of a difference that you can pin out and say whose run was actually faster. If you are part of the community and you are on one of those leaderboards, I will link the spreadsheet on our community forum post so you can actually see what your real time is if you'd like. This is a very new strat from Pango. Normally we would take that Buzzy Beetle up to the top, but instead, using this particular climbing route, he can get to the pipe a little bit earlier than we could otherwise. The rest of this level is an auto-scroller, but Pango likes to show off, or just have fun, or maybe this is just the preferred way to play the level, where he'll do a bunch of ground pounds. I like this particular section here where he bumps the mushroom up. Like, look at the little flying mushroom there. I've never seen that before. And then he'll do ground pounds on these, because I guess he can. I would not want to ground pound anywhere near these. I'm very much a fan of having all of my mid-air control, but that's going to be this level for you. I know rptem was in there. I managed to reach out to him and check, too. Again, all of the videos are provided courtesy of the runners. I did not include anything that I did not get permission to use. So they're all here. All of the runners have permission as well to let me know if they need something removed or changed or edited. Happy to move things around for that. This video will go up on YouTube. Probably not tonight, just because it takes like 4 hours for YouTube to upload and process it, and I need to go to bed before that. But it'll be up pretty soon after, and I will post when that's live as well. I'll also be putting up this commentated version for anyone who would like the explanations behind a lot of the tricks that we're using, but yeah, those will go up later. The ending of this, we get 2 mushrooms. That is not because of speed. That's because now, guess what? This is also the record for the 100% category. The 100% category is to go through the sub-world, which is actually that upper area, and as well to get at least 1 1-up mushroom, I believe, and right there you've gotten 2. So congrats, this is now a valid 100% run. That is also the 100% world record. Looking forward to 8-3. 8-3 is going back to Polonxy, who is the pioneer of strats for this particular level. This is our auto-scroller that we try to optimize every single transition, and there's specific setups for each of them. So what we're trying to do is get to the right side of the screen without bonking. If we hit the right side of the screen while it's moving, we will bonk off and go to the left a little bit, and that'll cause us to miss optimal timings for doors, pipes, things like that. So here, in each of these little sections of the level, Polonxy will wait at a designated point before moving forward to take advantage of the screen scroll timings. Some of these small rooms, not quite as much, but here you actually hesitate. You don't hold right at the beginning of that pipe drop, otherwise you will bonk off the right side of the screen. Here you do need to get a P-switch jump and land on the left side of that final platform to get in the door optimally. That's one of the trickier parts to get, but it feels so good when you nail it. So if you're looking for one trick in this level, that's definitely the one to go learn. Last two rooms, I think this one, the key we're looking at is going to be around these arrows of coins. The second one, the tall row, is what we're looking at to hit the left side of the screen. You can see Polonxy's lining up under the third one. So watch those coins hit the side and Polonxy take off, aiming for that pipe. That's again sort of how we're measuring each of these sections. We're standing somewhere and we're looking for something to scroll off screen, and that's how we time it all out. If you look carefully, you can actually see the timer on the top right changing as we switch between the IL runs and the video that's backing it. Like my any % run that I did last night, so we'd have a video. And you can see how much time I lost in my any % attempt. My actual any % attempt that this video uses was, I think, a 151. And I can guarantee you this video is faster than that, so good to know. Do you like being entertaining on the auto-scrollers? I thought it was fun. This level, we use a star to go really fast. I was actually really sad when I learned the star was faster. The key thing there is optimizing that star grab, because I had worked really hard at getting good at a strat where you have to make a single frame jump. And suddenly all that work was invalid because the star was just fast and required 0 frame perfect jumps. The good news is you don't have to worry about frame perfect jumps in the middle of your speedrun anymore. Well, you do for some places, but like not for here. This one's now just fast to do with the star. You can get the star and make some mistakes and it doesn't lose you too much time compared to like missing a trick. The other one would have put you in a death pit, because of course it would have. Why not? Here we get J-Dude's appearance. This is J-Dude's one and only appearance. I think this was one of his only submissions to the IL leaderboard. He just sort of came in here, dropped this video, and then left. And the key thing that he changed from what we've done before is he does a 3 jump strat on the second vine. And that's something that I've tried to pick up for my runs. I can sometimes get it, sometimes I get too nervous, but he'll jump 3 times to get to the top of the vine a bit faster with the climb. And that saves enough time to give him the record for this one. That is the fastest video. Usually the other videos will only do 1 jump to get around the spikes and then climb up the vine a bit more safely from there. I should be drinking tea at some point. 8-6, the key here is, it's shedding season for my rabbits. There's definitely rabbit hair in my tea, which is not exactly ideal. Let's see if I can get some of that out. 8-6 is another auto-scroller. It only has the finale, like, axe. There's no screen transitions to worry about. So this one is all about who got to that axe first. It is, I believe, also medium scroll speed, which means you do have to worry about Mario bonking. There's 3 scroll speeds, fast, medium, slow. For slow, you can just hug the right side of the screen. You'll always hit the optimal timing. So you'll see that in 14.4, for example. For medium, you'll bonk a little bit, but it's not very noticeable. For fast, you'll bonk a lot, and you'll definitely see if you miss something. 8-3, that level that had a lot of transitions, that was an example of a fast one. So here, the axe is just barely, the handle of the axe is just barely on screen when I hit it. That was slightly more optimal than a lot of the other videos that were up, so that's why this one is in. An approximate guess again at when splits happened. Now we're almost a minute ahead. I again don't know exactly where we're at, and we're definitely over a level ahead of the current world record, so making excellent pace, as we are expected to do in a video that is pre-recorded and designed to be really, really good. Yay! Yeah, we're fast ahead. Polonxy gold! If we're not getting golds, that means I messed up my splits, by the way. Like, we should be getting golds for literally every single world. 9-1. What is 9-1 doing? Okay, so 9-1 is just about how the Bowser Jr. acts, and I think there may be a faster version of this for any % where you don't get the mushroom. So the reason we get the mushroom in any % is because the Bowser Jr. fight is random, and I say fight loosely, you just skip him, but depending on where he is in the room, you do different things, and so it's just easier to get the mushroom and never have to worry about him whatsoever. But there may be a faster, like, time save, even in this, like, highlight compilation version of all the time saves, where we just don't get a mushroom and don't take damage to the Bowser Jr. I don't think anyone did. I think everyone got the mushroom and ran through him that submitted an IL, so that's why this one happened to be the fastest of those. When I was doing this IL, I specifically tried to make sure I didn't land on Bowser Jr. You want to be on the ground as you're approaching the pipe on the right side of the screen, so I waited until I got one where I was able to directly run at the pipe, as opposed to landing next to it and then entering it, which is the time save that I found in this particular route. Alright. There are so many auto-scrollers in this game, but I seriously did retime a lot of them. Make sure not to save. That's a great point. Yes, that would be very tragic if I accidentally saved these splits and then, like, had to run against them, because no. Just no. That would be very bad. The good news is I rarely remember to save stuff, so hopefully that just sort of works out. 9-2, the key here is trying to do these first frame conveyor jumps. I think I got 2 of them on this, which is what made it fast. Those conveyors are going backwards, but if you jump the same frame that you land, you actually don't get affected by the conveyor belt momentum, and so you can save time by not getting slowed down in that first section. In the second section, you want to be on the platform that's going to the right for quite some time, but not too much time saved here. This is a level that feels like it could be a little bit faster if you're really, really careful, but that's just the small details in this one. This is considered a pretty straightforward level. This isn't one that runners like aggressively practice or try to find more time saves in, but those little things are going to add up over the course of what is a sub 2 hour speed run. I will spoil that it is sub 2 hours. It's at least faster than world record. For 9-3, this is where we see Juice again. I think Juice has 2 or 3 levels in this run. This is the level that I think of Juice on. Like, if you think of any level that is JuiceACD's level, it is this one. This is one of the first isles that he actually took from the community because he found that it was possible to meet this first cycle. So the key here is getting to these fire jets and then skipping getting the mushroom. That is the fast fire cycle is very precise to get. You have to have extremely clean movement in the first part of the level. Juice is the only one who I know who regularly goes for that during his actual any percent attempts. If you are racing him, he will try to convince you to go for it to see if you fall for that trick and die, but he's really, really good at this level, so I was glad that this one, like this level that I feel like is so associated with him was in fact his to take for this video. More tea. I need more tea. There we go. I have tea with honey because I know I was going to be talking a lot today. I talk a lot most of the time, but like especially when I'm narrating. For this one, there were only a few videos to choose from for the ILs because most of them will go in that pipe at the top of the screen. Going through the pipe is faster in in-game time. Not doing that is faster RTA. Now, everyone else will tie RTA because there's no speed up or slow down outside of that. And so I was the first one to submit the RTA round, so there we go. It's mine. Ta-da! I did it. I also was excited that this video included the RNG split, so when you do a double jump with Mario, which is something you do at the end of this level, there's 3 different like poses he can do. He can just sort of jump, he can do like a twirl, he can do like splits. Splits are my favorite, and so I'm always excited when I get those in a video that I'm going to include for something. For 9-5, this is an auto-scroller. The reason that we're using my video is because if you are doing the IL for this and you want to tie it, you have one of 2 options. Both of them are slower than this. You either need to get all 5 red coins and go through the door at the end, which will shift the screen's position so you can run at the check or run at the final flag instead of waiting for it, or in what is the dumbest thing I think is in this game, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I was so mad when I found this out, you need to get the mushroom. Because large Mario will hit the flag 1 frame sooner than small Mario will on this level. And that 1 frame is the difference between tying the IL and failing it. When I was trying to get this IL, I was so confused as to how I was losing time on literally an auto-scroller at slow speed, and it's just that if you're not large Mario, you will not hit the IL time. But again, getting a large Mario involves getting a mushroom, getting a power-up, that's a half-second time loss, so that 1 frame that you save on the level is not outweighed by the half-second you lose trying to get the power-up in the first place. So, since during my normal any percent routes I don't get the mushroom, I had a video of that on hand and decided to use that one for this particular run. Fun fact, 1/6 of the levels are auto-scrollers. That's so many though! Why do we have like freaking 12 or 14 auto-scrollers in this game? Too many for sure. You notice I still am getting the red coins, and that's more just because that's how I keep myself busy this level. They're not required, I will not be going through the door at the end. But again, going through the door will reset the position that the screen is in, and that moves it ahead of the scroll that it would have been at normally, which is how you tie the IL as small Mario. So if you want, really want for some reason to get the IL but you want to be small Mario, red coins is the way to go. You go back in 2017 in one of your first runs of Super Mario Challenge. So what I didn't do and what I could have done is it's likely that we also have some times within, as a group, our any percent runs that are pretty good. And what I didn't do is go through everyone's any percent runs to try to find those. I did not have all the time in the world, so I went just with the ILs, which are usually the most optimized, and then we rolled on from there. You'll notice that the world record did catch up with us in that it was in the same level as us, but that's only because that's a really long auto-scroller and not because the world record is gaining time. It is losing time on every single one of these levels, except like the ones that you can't tie. So this is some new stuff from Pango. This was pretty recent. Notice that he's carrying the shell with him from the beginning. He also got a boost off of the shell from a cannon. He's going to use this to avoid having to do the triple jump strat. The triple jump strat is really obnoxious because you have to get really perfect conveyor belt jumps, and by carrying a shell and using that so he doesn't have to jump off the conveyor belts, that sort of skips that strat and makes the ending, I think, a lot more consistent in terms of not having to jump off conveyors. That's another thing I want to see if I can learn for my own any percent runs, because I'm always a bit slow at the ending there, and it's kind of like, dang it though, I don't want to be slow in the speedrun, I want to be fast in the speedrun. Surprise, surprise. For 9-7, I'm holding the POW. Normally when I do my runs, I throw the POW just to make sure none of the plants are in my way. One thing you'll notice though is I do drop the POW as we go into this bottom water section. And that is because if you are holding the POW and you keep it in this section, you will miss the IL time because Mario, with holding an item in this theme, tries to swim up, and it's enough that it loses you time. I was stuck on this for a while trying to figure out what I was doing wrong, how I was like not able to tie this IL, and then I finally realized it's because I was just holding onto this POW. Like if anyone remembers the Celeste week I did, like Celeste-a-thon, I had Affinity for like always holding the grab button. Like it was just like a safety grab. I feel like that's how I felt with that POW. It's like I just want to hold it. So this, credit to Pango for telling me that Polonxy's route was faster for RTA, because I did not realize that. Pango 5 has the IL time, but his route involves a ton of damage boosting. Damage boosting involves getting and losing power-ups, which again costs real time. That is a really cool jump, by the way. There's a couple really cool jumps in here. And so, Pango actually took the initiative to retime the 3 top times for this, mine, Polonxy's, and Pango's, and he said Polonxy's is the fastest. So as of like an hour and a half ago, I switched the video, like that jump too, just getting that flag so early. I switched it to include Polonxy's time. So thank you again for pointing that out, so our video is even better. One of the ways to tell how you're doing on this level is how far ahead the platform you're on is from the other two. This is really, really good. If you watch my speedruns, I'm maybe 1 head ahead of everything else, and that's about it. I don't go for any of these really adventurous jumps, but that's kind of one of the ways to look at this level and see what's happening there. Pray for Polonxy jump. Oh, your voice scared you. I'm sorry, I tried to balance audio as best I could. I'm not an audio engineer, so I may have missed some of the balances. I wasn't quite sure how to balance if someone talks once during the video versus not talking for most of it, so I apologize if I had any unintentional jump scares as part of this compilation. Oh hey look, I missed a split again. Who would have guessed? We're over a minute ahead. Again, as the screen says, it's fast. That's all you need to know, is it's fast. I will get this final time though. And I can go back and I'll split it later on my own time while I'm listening to the audio cues, just to make sure I actually have that, and I'll put that up as part of the video as well. 10-1, you can tie while you're doing any percent. It is one that if you're doing the movements pretty optimally, you're pretty good to go. The thing that you'll see here is a setup that I no longer do because it's pretty dangerous, where in the second half here I'm going to jump between 2 spinies. There's very little room to land. But that does guarantee that you get over the pipe without slowing down. Alternatively, you land before the spinies, but then have to jump off of the very corner of the pipe if you want to keep an optimal route. The second part of this, the main thing, is there's going to be a cloud as we're falling down, and you start moving right when you're in the middle of the cloud. That's your secret speed tech for the day. Ready? See that cloud right there? Hold right. Yay! You're a speedrunner now. Game go. Brr! Yes, much fast. Wow. Mine is faster? For 10-1? Yes. I believe so. I can check and double check that I did in fact grab it. So again, I do have like a spreadsheet on the side that I have with all of the times that I was aggressively retiming. So for 10-1, I will look that up in a second. First, I'd like to talk about whatever level this is. This is back to Polonxy. Polonxy is the only one who actually has this route. This is a route that I've been meaning to learn because I think it would be nice to try to pull off. So, one, you can see he's frustrated at the beginning of the video because this does not sound like it was fun to get. What he's going to do is he's going to keep the boot. I would normally drop it before I go in this door because otherwise it throws off my jumping pattern. But he's going to keep it and use it to get a very particular jump using the dry bones to go directly into the pipe without having to do the super scary jump that I do. So there we go. Jump off the dry bones directly into the pipe. I would love to learn that specific strat. Rest of the level is going to be about the same as what you'd see from me. So for 10-1, my times, both of my videos were 39 seconds, 267 milliseconds. Polonxy, your time was 39 seconds, 400 milliseconds. So only a little bit off, but when I timed it, that was the difference that I got. You know, I'll just drop the link. If anyone would like to follow along with my math here, what happens is the first page, just like the first few pages just show whose times I'm using, what videos they're coming from, but there is a tab for every video that I needed to time a tiebreaker on where you can see exactly what the times were. So here is the link for that. And don't feel like you have to, because that's very, very technical. It's probably only interesting if your name is on there, but you're welcome to take a look. For this level, I am the only person who has this to my knowledge. The rest of, like the first part of this level looks exactly the same. Just exactly the same. The ending is where in my IL, I specifically do an ascending jump off of the final Hammer Brothers. This is RNG. No one does or should go for it at any percent. But watch this jump. I'm really proud of it. Just straight up into the goal. Normally you jump over the Hammer Brothers and then jump back up into the goal, and it's really not that much different. It's the same in-game time, so you can tie the IL without having to do that jump. But that jump is the fastest way to do this level RTA. It does complete the level without slowing down whatsoever, so it's the fastest possible time. I'm really excited about it. I never get to show it off because I don't do it 90%, so ha! Take that video. I'm having too much fun. Is that possible? Happy Mario Day, everyone. 4.10.4, not too much to talk about here. The main one is just, again, how close you get to that last axe as it scrolls onto the screen. That's all. Oh no, it's not all you're looking for. The other reason that my video is once again fast, I promise I didn't just pick my own videos. I just don't get the power-ups when I do ILs. Because I know that it's faster RTA. So again, you can get the power-ups. Most people will get the power-ups on this level because it's free when you're doing an IL. But in RTA it costs time to get the power-ups. So you'll see I'm riding Yoshi, who's a free power-up in an auto-scroller because he doesn't pause the game. But as we're seeing like mushrooms come up, I'm going to take it and spin it the other way just to make sure I don't touch it because I don't want to take that half-second time loss. So that's why this particular video is fast. Oh, welcome Raiders, everyone. The nerdy one, that's such a cool name. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everyone. We are celebrating Mario Day, which is March 10th, which is how you write Mario. And what we're doing is we're watching a video that is released as of now. This is the premiere of it, where we put together the best times from all of the different individual levels that are part of this Any % run, which includes 88 total levels. I'm gonna pretend like I know where to split here. Ish. We're over a minute ahead of world record. And we're watching this compilation to see just how fast we go as a community compared to the actual world record time that's there. So welcome everyone. Hope you're having fun. You're now fed to the newlyweds. I hope you had a great stream. What were you up to? Feel free to let us know what you were doing, what you were having fun with. Happy Mario Day? Yes. Mario Maker 2 and dying a lot. Mario Maker 2 does tend to do that. Hopefully some of the levels were fun. It's definitely hit or miss when you get to Mario Maker. With this particular set of levels, these were built by Nintendo, so they are always consistent. We do not have any random levels in this particular speedrun, which is why we can do sort of a community best. This level, I think I'm the only one who seriously tried to do this, and it's because it's awful. This beginning is really difficult to get right because you can go too fast and that can slow you down, which is just like, really? Why? Here, I take a specific route to try to spawn these springs in at a specific time because you want those to line up with when the P-switch timer ends so you can take the elevator up very quickly. For the next section, you need to not get slowed down by the note blocks, which means you have to land on them in specific spots, otherwise they'll sort of catch you and you'll slow down from there. And then finally, to cap this whole adventure off, you get to do our third stair jump of the run. There is actually no real background clue to use for this one though. This is one of the harder stair jumps to get because there just aren't a lot of signals you can use to get consistent at it. But there it is, a level that hopefully I never have to do the IL for again because it was not fun. But it's there. 1-1-1. Yes, 11-1. So many ones. 11-2. Who has 11-2's time? What is 11-2? Is 11-2 the flying one? I should grab my actual notes. I'm just like so focused on my speedrun notes. Yeah. So this one, the ILs mostly go through the pipe. There is a subworld route that is faster in in-game time. So only when you're doing any % would you take this cape and take this sort of outer route through the level. Again, slower in in-game time, but because you're not going through pipe transitions, which are pretty costly, that's one of the more costly things you can do in this game, you're saving time overall. I think pipe transitions are like 3 seconds, doors are about 1.5 seconds, and items like power-ups are going to be about half of a second. So that's like the sliding scale of time losses you can get that won't affect your in-game time, but will definitely affect your real time. Things to watch out for. Your obsolete run is now fast? I don't think, oh, that's a good point. I don't think I went through the obsolete runs. I didn't think to try to hide those or show those. So I'm not sure if I had anything else on there. I can go look. That was 11-2. I will see if I had competition times for that. 11-2. Yeah, no, 11-2 I think I was only able to find mine. Here again, just not getting the power up. Not getting the power up and being on top of the flag when it spawns in, those are the things to do. This conveniently is also a 100% route. The 100% challenge is to get all of the coins and to jump on all of the dry bones. The dry bones will come up at the end of the level. The coins are happening now, so this is the 100% route for this as well, just in case you needed that for some reason. Oh, used to be IGT world record. I'm sorry, I didn't think to look for it. Here's your requested reminder, split world 11. Thank you, I appreciate it. For anyone who has not watched before, I usually speedrun this game just like actually playing the game as opposed to showcasing this video. And I am notoriously bad at splitting, especially World 11. Today, I'm just notoriously bad at splitting literally all of the times, so Maybe World 11 is the one I actually will remember to split, but World 11 ends in a bit of a different fashion than some of the other worlds, which is why it can be a bit trickier to find out. One of the things that's fun if you just are keeping a close eye on things is if you don't see lives in the top left corner, or if you, based on the in-game HUD, I think you can tell whether or not we're playing an IL versus whether or not we're playing something that's part of the any% run. Lives aren't really a thing in the practice mode, or the like, the way that the mode that we use to do our ILs, like level select. They're definitely a thing in any%. Not an important thing, but they're there. So you can see as I finish the level and go back into the any% video, the lives will show up again. If you're watching the lives really closely, you might be able to tell how many times I died during my practice run that I used as the basis for this. It was more than 0. But yeah, so those things will not line up at all. That's, of course, not something I was trying to line up. The goal is just to see how fast could we go, and how many coins or how many lives you have does not affect how fast you go. Here's where we get to a really, really complicated strat. It's not too bad, but basically you have to do some specific maneuvering with ground pounds and not ground pounds to get back through the pipe. The reason you need to go back through the pipe is to grab this spiky helmet to hold on to, because you're going to use spin jumps to skip most of this level, but in order to stop spin jumping, you need to throw something. That's one of the ways you can get out of the spin jump mode. And what we want to do is we want to throw this so we can do twirls in midair, which is going to give us more horizontal distance. So that's why we had to go back and get a helmet, so we can throw it right there so we can switch into twirl mode to get here. Now, funnily enough, when recording this, I did actually, you'll notice that I actually ended at the bottom of the flagpole as well, which is optimal. I'm going to pretend, oh wait, I need to split. Did I get it? Success! Thank you for the reminder. Funnily enough, I actually matched pretty well, where normally when I do my any% runs, I'll finish on the top route, which is slightly slower of an ending, so that did match up and optimally finish. But fun fact, that was only because when I was doing my practice run for this, I accidentally went in the first pipe just for no good reason. And then was like, you know, this actually works out great. This kind of works. So hopefully I don't do that again. That was a little weird, but it's alright. Into Koopa Clown Car World. This first one is all about one of the particular jumps that you'll get off of a bullet bill launcher at the very end of the level. So far as I can tell, that is the only thing. This is actually a really tricky / frustrating IL to get because it's not entirely clear what all affects your speed. The main things you're looking for are your entry into this Koopa Clown car, and then again, how you jump off of the final bullet bill launcher. You'll notice that this particular run kind of falls off of it and gets a little extra speed even, and I think that's why this particular version of the video was the fastest. I did time, again, all of the ones for this particular level, and that was the fastest one. I didn't go through and necessarily measure out frame by frame why, because then we wouldn't have had this video for next month or so. But that's sort of my hypothesis as to what made that particular run faster than all of the rest of them. For this one, we get our final stair jump, which shows up at the end of a very long auto-scroller. So if you have any questions up to this point, now's a great time to ask them, because we're just going to be firing fireballs at things for like 2-3 minutes. It's great. 11.4 is ridiculous, absolutely. Right, yeah, so many things here. Any split % run today? Trying my best. You have Blossom vibes? Do you get that sometimes? I don't, but I think that sounds nice. Thank you very much. I'm actually like low-key still looking at the World 11 split and just being proud that it exists. Like, that's nice. Look at that beautiful split. And for anyone who missed it, normally I split using sound cues and I can't actually hear the video right now. So my splits are going to be kind of off, but it'll give you an idea of how far ahead we are at this point in the run. A lot of the time save is going to come in, I mean, we already have quite a bit of time save. Like being a minute ahead of world record would be phenomenal if you were doing an actual attempt. Like you'd be in the clear. You would have world record by the end as long as you didn't like drastically die at the very end of 14.4 after skipping the checkpoint. Like you'd be on great pace. I would have never been on that pace in my life for obvious reasons. But I think some of the later levels as well are where you're really going to see some time saves over my particular route, because the world record is following my route. There are things that I knowingly did not include in my world record. 16.4 being one of the levels that comes to mind. So we'll get to see that one in action as well. I'm excited to show you 17.8. If you have not seen the 17.8 IL, it's pretty exciting. You don't use Yoshi for the second half. And normally you absolutely hold on to Yoshi with your life to avoid some randomness. Here, I was having a bit of fun. This is what this level looks like if you're trying to do the 100%, where you sort of hold back and defeat all the enemies. If you've only watched me do any % attempts, you'll know that I just blast the heck out of everything that even tries to show its nose on screen, so you don't usually get to see how chaotic this level actually is. But this level is all about, there's a giant field of enemies, and the more of them you hit at once, the more points you get. And this challenge for this level in terms of medals is to get a high score. So this is what the end of this level really does look like if you don't just spam the B button the entire time. The key time save here, though, is actually this Bowser fight at the end. Bowser gave me a really nice pattern. I do lose a bit of time because I will take a hit, but Bowser won't fire a fireball until my very last fireball, and he sort of stays in a nice spot where I can hit him with multiple fireballs at once. There is that half-second time loss where he did snag me at the end, and here is our final stair jump of the entire run. There it is. There's 4 out of 4 stair jumps, never before seen in a run, because no one else has spliced a run, thank goodness. That would be cheating, and again, this video is very clearly intended to be just a reference for the community, a fun way for us to celebrate how fast we can play this game. I'm not going to try to submit this to the leaderboards. It would be the most obvious cheat ever, even if I tried. Actually, we've had some pretty fun obvious ones, so watch out for that. Off topic, but I'm so glad tomorrow is Friday. I am with you on that one. Oh my goodness, it's been a long week. Partially because I was working on this video, but also just work is work, and that can be a thing. For this, watch here, I'm going to shoot 1 fireball, break 3 blocks. It's actually kind of tricky to get those 3 as opposed to 3 that don't let you go through, so that's one of the things here. The other difference where this is going to save time on world record is this is going to very aggressively attack the bloopers without really slowing down. I take the blooper section incredibly slow there because they're very, very dangerous to work around. But if you're going for an isle and you can retry as many times as you want, yeah, let's go for it. Blast the heck out of some bloopers. Why not? 12-4 is going to be pretty fast as well. So 12-4 is the finale of the Koopa Clown Car world. And we can actually get a very early cycle on this one. I think Polonxy was the first one to do that, and then I was able to optimize it a little bit on top of that. Trying to remember my speedrunning history for this game as we go through. But normally, we will not hit the cycle that you're going to see here. I know I'm setting it up a lot, but we'll get there. Reminder, this is a training tool, not a valid run. Yes. Maybe I should just slap a giant watermark warning on there. So here, if you go very quickly, you can actually get ahead of these fire bars. This makes this section have a lot more space than it normally does otherwise, which is kind of nice, but it's really tight to get that to work without bouncing off the walls and careening into them. From here, what you're looking to do is optimize this particular maze section so you're not really slowing down, and you do not want to hit any of these spikes or run into the lava. Usually if you're doing this section and you're just doing your any % run, you will go into the lava a little bit, it'll slow you down, but that's safer than hitting the spikes. But for this particular aisle, managed to do it without that. I was late on that split, so that was an approximation again. But again, we're saving time, and we're getting closer to 2 minutes ahead. So again, keep in mind what your guess was in terms of what this final time will be. And a reminder, I actually don't know what the final time is. I made the video and everything, but I only know how long the video is, so I know the maximum bound. I have not actually done a time to figure out what the true new best time is. So we'll figure that out together as a group at the end. Get that split ready. See, thank you for getting there. One day I'll remember how to split things. So 13, I think, is a really cool level here. We're going to watch Pango's attempts at this. Well, attempts, it's his actual one. This was a really cool community effort as well. I was the one who theorized you could do that bouncy back and forth. JuiceACD was the first one to actually show how it could work. And then Pango came along and just optimized the heck out of that ending with that Koopa. That Koopa is one of the biggest problems if you skip the propeller, which is what you're supposed to have in this level, because normally you'd use the propeller to damage boost through that Koopa, but of course, if we do this twirly fancy stuff, we never have to get the propeller, but then we have to find some other way to deal with that particular Koopa. This is one of the strats that I think would be really neat to try in my any % runs, but out of all the tech in this game, twirling in a timely fashion is one of my weaknesses, so this particular level probably isn't going to be the strat that I'll pick up, just for that reason alone. For 13-2, you have never seen me try this, I think, on stream, because this is the actual fastest way to do this level. Our current route that we use for any % is to die 5 times and get a power-up for free from the game for being bad, and then use that to just cheat our way through the level. This is the level as it's more or less intended, and this is how we used to play it before we did the assist item. What's key here is we're only going to play half of it. This is the first half of a level that is all about escort missions. We are currently escorting this P-switch through this section of contraptions. The second half will be escorting a muncher, but we're going to use this P-switch to skip the entire rest of the level. Now, you can go for this at any %, but it's pretty dangerous because if you use up the P-switch without getting the trick, you would have to redo that entire first escort mission again. And the reason that the assist item is a little bit safer is because if you miss that, you can immediately retry. But here we're going to bring it all the way back to to the beginning of the level, get a P-switch jump, and get on top of the entire level here. Now we're running over the first section and the second section. Watch out for this one fire bar there. That is your one hazard on top of the level, and that saves more time than dying 5 times and getting the assist item, and drastically cuts down the time for this level. So really awesome time save, very difficult to nail correctly, because if you miss that P-switch jump and you don't activate the P-switch, you can kind of try again until you miss. But if you activate that P-switch, you are replaying an entire escort mission, and that is not what you want to be doing for speed. Just fun facts, escort missions are slow in this game. Thank you, I appreciate the support reminding me to split. This level, honestly, pretty straightforward. Not too much changes between the IL and the any%. The IL just does things faster. Surprise, surprise. If you have time to just focus on a single level, you're going to get pretty good at it, versus if you're in any% and you're really trying not to die more than anything else, things will look a little bit different. This is again when I believe I had to time out. Yeah, 13.3 has a couple different tide times, but just barely this particular one was fastest by looking at the numbers 2 frames. All 3 videos that I was looking at were 30 FPS, and there is one with 800 milliseconds, one with 833, and one with 867. So exactly 1 frame apart for 3 different videos on this level. That's how closely I was measuring things, so I was really trying to make sure we got the fastest times. 13.4, we're looking at an auto-scroller. The way to save time here is to not take damage. I actually took some of the least damage, question mark, but this level is a place where we could save time if we were to do this again, by just taking less damage. For the IL, in order to make sure that I got the screen transitions as closely as possible, meaning I was at the pipe when it spawned ready to go to the next section, it was easiest to set that up with a damage boost. But one thing I'll call out is you'll notice I'm not actually jumping. I'm bouncing off of note blocks, but at no point in this level do I hit the jump button. That is because the 100% challenge for this level is to do this without jumping ever. So because in this particular auto-scroller, you can get the 100% and the IL, or the 80% and the 100% ILs in the same amount of time, usually I'll try to do that when I do my IL. So this is also another 100% route. I don't do this for any percent because it's not fun. Not being able to jump in a Mario game was a terrible design decision, and they should never do that again. That is my personal opinion. And again, I can bounce off of the note blocks, but I cannot be holding the jump button at any point in time. This is again the example of, in order to make sure I'm at the right side of the screen for these transitions, I do take the damage boost, and that is where the RTA time loss is coming in. The other thing that I contributed to here is you wait just a second to bounce on that note block, otherwise you'll miss the flag on the first bounce and have to bounce on it again. So there's your other optimization for the auto-scroller level. Woohoo! But thankfully we're past that one now. Can confirm that you've died to that fire bar. It's so mean, right? Like the whole top of the level's clear and there's that one fire bar out of nowhere. You're celebrating that you got the P-switch jump and then never mind, day ruined. Oh, so this is another level that Pango did specifically for this compilation, and that is a very hyper-optimized version of the RTA route for this level. So we usually take something similar to this, but this is where I learned something that maybe was obvious to everyone else, which is that you can actually shortcut one of the propeller weaknesses, which is right there. You'll notice that Pango never spun down. He didn't have to drop down and waste time. He'll do it again right there. There is a very specific window, similar to how you can gain enough height on the ground pound to go through a semi-solid platform that's otherwise unreachable. You could do the same type of thing with the the propeller suit, and skip having the animations that you'd otherwise need. So that's how Pango does this level, just way faster than anyone else has done at RTA. This was very, very exciting to see, and again, this was because we were doing an RTA compilation, so I was really, really excited to see that one. For 13.6, the main thing I think I saved time on here is going to be a specific fire jet. So the first part of the level we take pretty consistently. This will be the same strategy you'll see someone do for any percent, where you go up to the top, you can use the cannonball at the top left to time when to run through the fire jets in that middle section, so you can skip them all in one go without having to wait. But over here, there's going to be a fire jet that's going to block our progress, so it's at the top of this hallway. Watch me jump through this, right there. That is why this particular video is very fast, and it's because I took that jump really aggressively. You would never go for something that aggressive during an actual any percent run, but it's a great illustration of how the hitbox for the fire jet disappears before the animation for it does. So if you ever want to save time and for some reason are okay with potentially throwing your runaway, that's the way to go. Also, shout out to that Bowser jumping. It's really tricky to get over Bowser if he jumps, but you can do it without slowing down. In an actual any percent run, an attempt at splitting is made. We're about 2 minutes ahead now. This is great. In an actual 90% run, I usually pause there, so I have more leeway to get around Bowser if he decides to be mean and jump. It's split. Thank you. See? Teamwork, everyone. Even if I didn't like read it in time, it's in my peripheral vision. My brain's picking up these split reminders and it's making it happen. We're like at least 4 for the last 5 splits, which is better than I thought we'd do after I missed the first 4 consecutively, so we're making progress. Unfortunately, Worlds 14 and 15 are kind of some of the slower parts of the run. They contain a lot of auto-scrollers, a lot of long ones, 14.4 being one of the longest, but we do have one time save there that's in there now, and you know, this one isn't super fast either. One thing that was confusing to me, and I want to go back and check at some point, is I thought that a different run was the fastest for this particular one. This is actually just the run that I was doing live, or not live, but recording in order to make this video. This was somehow faster than what I thought my IL time was, and I don't know why. I think it has to do with how I did the ground pound at the end, but that's something else I want to investigate, because I mostly thought the time save came from the climbing section right before then. Either way, the key thing here is that we are getting a mushroom. Normally, again, I try to avoid those in auto-scrollers, and we'd want to be avoiding them for RTA time. In this case, we need to be Large Mario to take a shortcut at the end of the level. We're going to be ground pounding through some blocks, and only Large Mario can ground pound through blocks. So you want to get that mushroom and keep it all the way to the end. So here's where there's a couple things that this video does a bit slowly, and so I'm surprised that it was the fastest. It slides down that wall, it bonks here, and then it has pretty decent jumps up that section, but I think it must have been something with either the closeness I got to those platforms or the ground pound itself that made it work so well. Or, at this point, it was 5 AM and I made a mistake. I really hope that's not the case. I did double check it, but I am a human person that is fallible, so hopefully not, but you never know. For 14-2, I think we're back to Pango again. And most of this is sort of a run and jump level where you just sort of sprint at things and try not to slow down. This is one of those levels that's a little trickier than it might appear because you have enemies coming from above and below. So all of these jumps are a little bit tighter than they otherwise normally would be. You're not just looking at where you're landing, you're looking at what's coming down to try to attack you. The time save and the differentiator here is the stair climb, which is incredibly smooth, and then getting above that enemy there at the end. If you're fast enough on the stair climb, you can beat that enemy cycle and jump over it, use it as a like springboard. If you're slow on the stair climb, you will not make that cycle, and so as you're climbing those stairs, you have to evaluate as a runner, was I fast enough to make the attempt at getting the fast beetle? And if not, that's okay, just wait for the beetle to bounce back and forth and make your merry way on. But that's sort of the differentiator you have to be watching for as you're doing that particular level. For this one thing that I'm missing in here is a very small optimization that I think Juice suggested a while back, which is you can grab this mushroom at the bottom of the screen instead of the top, so you can get through this, you can start to get some momentum to go through that crusher a little bit sooner. But again, the reason this video is going to be in here over some of the other ones is because it skips the checkpoint in the second half of the level, which is going to save half a second on a mushroom grab. So again, one of the biggest themes of this video is you want to play dangerously. You do not want to have mushrooms, you don't want to take that safety, it is faster not to. But again, in a real any percent run, there's always the risk of death. For this compilation video, death isn't really gonna be a thing. So, spoilers, it's deathless. But here, I skipped the checkpoint. Usually, runners will get this. Fun fact, I used to always skip that checkpoint to save this time, and then I started getting too nervous on this level, and I started getting the checkpoint just for safety. And as I do like races and marathon appearances, I will get that checkpoint every time, because it just makes the sending a lot safer and prevents us having to repeat the water section, which is not that fun to watch a second time. First time through, I can try to make it entertaining. Second time through, it's definitely boring. But speaking of boring, we are on the longest and least interesting level in the game, but the good news is, it's a Pango video, and he at least does stuff with auto-scrollers to try to keep it interesting that I would never want to do ever. The other thing that's interesting is this does have a time save, so I didn't have to compare this to any other times. It's actually very slightly slower in in-game times, so there's a little bit more time save you can get on top of it. But the reason that this is the fastest is because it skips a checkpoint that up until Pango just dropped this video I thought was required. So whenever I talk about this level, when I'm running it, I always use that first block that's just leaving screen now, the little wings in midair, and get a mushroom. And I call that like a safety mushroom, but I call it a free safety mushroom. Because the thing is, you can get mushrooms on auto-scrollers for safety, but usually you lose half a second as a penalty for playing it safe. On this level, if you have a required checkpoint, you can get the mushroom early for free since you'll hit the checkpoint later and you would have gotten it and lost that time anyway. However, we now know that you can skip that checkpoint. It's really tricky to do, very difficult, but you can. Makes the level a lot more risky as well, because now it is no longer free to get a mushroom. You want to be Small Mario throughout the entire level to save the maximum amount of time and to really benefit from that change. So you'll see that coming up after we finish this first half. So this is the sort of first big section of the level. We're gonna go up. Why did you go backwards on the conveyor? Just why not? I guess it's an auto-scroller, it doesn't really matter. Go up the staircase, go down the staircase. There is one, count it, one Goomba you gotta watch out for at the bottom of the staircase. Once you've done that, you're home free to just land for the pipe. Here is the skip. I'm not even gonna try to explain it. You jump over the flag and don't hit it. Just barely is there enough room to make that work. Again, up until a couple weeks ago, I thought that checkpoint was impossible to skip, and so it didn't matter if you got a mushroom on this level, but now, guess what? It's slow if you get that. So that's the fun thing that you can try to add in if you'd like a little bit of extra adventure, and given that there's no other way to save time on this auto-scroller besides just good transitions, you know what, why the heck not? Not much else to be doing anyway. Usually for this room, I will just hug the right side of the screen because it's free to hug the right side of the screen and like I can drink water. As you can see, Pango and I have very different ideas about what to do during auto-scrollers. And his are definitely more fun to watch. So again, I'm glad that we get to highlight his video as part of this compilation because this is more exciting than watching me stutter step along the right side of the screen for 30 seconds during that room while I drink tea. I can drink tea anyway though, check this out. Woo. Look, no hands. Only because I'm not the one speedrunning this time. I have speedrun levels that are mine in here, but like, I'm not doing this one. Ah, this is a split, right? Split's coming up? Sending split vibes. Juice, nice run? Yes, thanks. I'm so proud of like how fast this goes as a community. I think it's really neat. So let's see if I can do a split for World 14. I am on the right world as well. I had to check that. Last time I streamed, I got my worlds all mixed up and that was kind of a problem. So here we go, finishing the level out. We guessed how the ending thing goes. It's somewhere around there. Again, we're about 2 minutes ahead now. It's not that much compared to my gold, but again, my gold's pretty decent for a world filled with auto-scrollers, so the fact that we're saving multiple seconds off of a gold split on the game that I've run 300 times is still really exciting. 15 as well is going to be a little bit slow. 16 is where the run really picks up again, but 15's got some neat stuff in it. We're going to see 15-4 with both skips first try, because of course they are in the IL. So that will be kind of a fun one to see as well. 15-1 though. What is 15? Oh, 51 is Yoshi. So this actually is a new strat as well from Pango. I know I'm saying his name a lot, he just has a lot of cool strats, I promise. Where he's going to get the Yoshi at the beginning of this level pretty consistent with what we've done for quite some time in terms of just how do you move optimally. But when he gets the shell, you'll notice he takes a little bit better care of it. So we're going to get a Koopa shell up at the top here to fling through some piranha plants and clear out a zigzag path for us. Normally when you get to the bottom of that zigzag path, you ignore the shell or just try not to get hit by it. You're going to see him actually pick it up in Yoshi's mouth. I thought that was for style points until he got to the skip here. Underneath the screen, not even visible, Yoshi will spit out the shell and Mario will jump on top of it to save time over the Yoshi flutter strat that normally is done in an any percent run. That's really neat. You will never see that in an any percent run, I think, or at least not for a very, very, very long time. So I think it's cool that, again, this video gives us a chance to show off so many of these strats, so many of these cool tricks that you wouldn't see otherwise on stream. Yeah, 15-1 ending. You'd get up to date with these view strats. Juice, I'm gonna do it. Of course you'd be the one to do it. So out of the different members of the community, I think we all each have our own personalities. Of course, we're different. We're humans. I try to go for a lot of consistency. Juice is definitely more of the like, look at this really, really hard strat that only works 30% of the time. I'm gonna make it work. Which is pretty fun. In which case, Juice, you should talk to Pango, because guess who figured out a consistent way to deal with the 16-4 Bowser, so we can actually skip that. I have not tried to learn it yet, but that's the next thing on my list to learn. I'm really excited about it. We'll talk more about Bowser when we get to him. Right now we're going through, guess what, yet another auto-scroller. This is based on Super Mario Bros. 3's airship levels. The key thing here that you'll see different than the any percent run is I do have a leaf power up right now. I will be intentionally losing it near the end of this level. Because for the strat that we're going to use to get past Bowser Jr., you need to be small, or you need to be large Mario, so you'll be damage boosted into small Mario. When I was learning this level for a while, so there's my intentional damage where I just sort of stand there and get a wrench in the face. When I was learning this level, I used to actually pause, because the challenges for this level are around how many Monty moles, these are, no Rocky Wrenches, these are Rocky Wrenches. The challenge was around how many Rocky Wrenches you would defeat, and so I'd count how many I defeated to see how close I was to the end of the level, because I didn't want to lose my power-up early and have to redo the level, but I needed to be large Mario in order to get this trick to work. Credit to Polonxy for figuring this one out. So here, you will not, again, this is another thing you won't really see in any percent run. We're going to very carefully jump off of Bowser Jr. and his shell in midair and get into that pipe. If you are large Mario, you will bonk off of the ceiling and will not make it far enough to the right to get to the pipe. But that is a really, really cool way to skip that room. Again, not really reliable, not really a great idea to go for it in any percent. We have a lot of other alternate strategies for any percent, but it's there, and now you know it's there if you'd like to investigate it. 15-3 is another level where it probably would have been helpful if we had more any percent runs to compare, because the aisle for this one involves going through like 6 doors, which is not very fun, and also not very fast in real time. And so instead we just sort of run along the top of this level. This is another one where there's a little bit to optimize. I actually jump off of the Goomba in the aisle, which is kind of fun, but like that little turnaround at the top of the house is like the biggest optimization in this level. It's very short, very sweet, not too much to worry about. But it does bring us into 15.4, which has 2 very significant tricks. I usually go for them in marathon runs if I'm doing like a showcase or I want to show off the game. I will use them as one of my like option cards if I'm in a race. If I'm in a race and I want to either get really far ahead or make up time, this is the level I make a decision on whether or not to go for these tricks. Obviously, we're going to go for both of them in this particular run because it's a IL and we recorded this ahead of time. And surprise, surprise, spoilers, we're going to land them both. What's also different about this, though, is just how closely we land them. When you look at this particular trick, there's now some safer versions of this skip where you land on, like, the second spike instead of the first one. You land a little bit more centered. We're going to land on the very edge of that leftmost spike to save the maximum amount of time over waiting for that platform to go all the way through. For the second one, we're doing the chain chop strat. This one doesn't look that different from what you might have seen me do in marathon runs before, at least attempted marathon runs before. But it is just, I think, a cool looking strat anyway. You go flying through these chain chomps, they're all over the place, it's really exciting. This is the trick that most of the time I'm the most tempted to do. Like if I'm tempted to do any trick in my any percent run, it's this one. Because I think it's really fun to do, and if you set it up right, it works. It's just, you have to be very precise with your setup. So here, jumping over both of these, jumping off of the corner of that block, landing on these spikes, and then jumping through this field of chain chomps to land on the right side of the screen. I don't know if you can skip that checkpoint. If you can, that might be another half-second time save because you don't necessarily need one to go through Bowser. This particular video also does not get hit by Bowser, I believe, which saves a bit more time, but we'll see that in a second. Here, I'm looking for that first block in this top section to fall and hit the bottom. I go a little bit earlier than when it lands. If you watch me do any percent runs, I wait till it lands so I'm not tempting fate. It is usually the case that you lose your mushroom to Bowser here, either due to his fire or due to him just being Bowser. I'm going to try to split. There-ish. 2.5 minutes ahead. It's going great. You usually lose your mushroom to him, but conveniently in this IL, we do get something optimal, which is don't get hit by Bowser. Surprise, that's optimal. And so we don't lose that half second, so that is pretty close to being up to date. And now we're out of 14 and 15 auto-scroller heck, and we can get into World 16, which is a lot faster. The shell spit isn't that bad? You say that. You say that. Oh my goodness. Checkpoint is skippable, same with 13.1. Which one's 13.1 again? You'll have to do a video for that so we can learn that one then. Because that last checkpoint's not really necessary for any percent. Again, it's the mushroom is the safety for Bowser, but not too much. So here are donut blocks. They're kind of like Celeste bumpers. You want to make sure you're hitting them on the right side so you're keeping your rightward momentum. You do not want to be bounced up or to the left. But if you jump at the same spots, they can usually get lined up. The other thing I'm watching is if you're holding the jump button, you'll get a tall jump like this, and if you're not, you'll get a small jump like that, and you want small jumps when you're next to platforms that you want to land on. Here, the trick is just lining up one big sequence where you jump twice and get all the way to the final platform, and that skips you having to wait for the auto-scroller. If you saw the cut to the live video, or not the live video, the real any percent run behind this, you can see those donut blocks were way further along because in my any percent runs, I don't go for a trick that early, and you can see that I wait for the donut blocks to make a lot more progress, making that section a lot safer. I need to keep drinking tea. I'm gonna lose my voice and we still have like 3 worlds to go. For 16.2, there were some small variations, and I think the difference comes down to when you get the star. If you get the star from the left side a little bit earlier, you have more time with the star moves faster. I think that's it. I think that's the only difference that I could find in this level. In in-game time, sometimes people intentionally take damage because damage boosting sometimes can maybe save a frame. But again, for RT, you do not want to take damage at any point during this level. You want to stay large Mario throughout. Elstrat's gonna be saving so much these last worlds? Yes. The difference between my 18.8 and the IL 18.8 is very significant. It's pretty fun though. For this is one where everyone's tied, and so the earliest person who I was able to get permission to use the video for was ThatBox. So this is ThatBox's run at this particular level. Again, nothing in this level moves left or right. There's no navigation that you have to do to go around obstacles. And so everyone can tie the exact time for this RTA. If you just go fast, don't go slow. Like if you always are holding right and run and never slow down, you will also tie this time. You also have to hit that gold tape on your first try from the left side, but that's not too hard to do. It's pretty easy to set that up. There's some coins that kind of lead into it to give you a signal of where to go. But here we go, 16.4. So 16.4 goes faster than you've seen it if you haven't watched the IL specifically. A couple things to start with. I think Pango goes to the left instead of the right when doing the initial ground pound to get up to a platform that you otherwise can't reach. The ground pound gives you a little bit of extra height to make that jump happen, so you'll see him go left, up, and that brings you closer to the vines, which is where you're trying to go to. In this next section, besides cutting these corners really closely, he's going to take a different route to get on top of this dry bones, which is a cycle that's difficult to hit in order to get to the door early. He catches the edge of that first conveyor belt in order to get momentum to get to the middle to do that ground pound section. This section I can take a bit of a breath on because it is just kind of running and jumping. It's, you know, again, trying to move optimally, but that first section is a heck of a gauntlet to get through. Pango, feel free to also narrate in chat if you'd like to call out things that I'm missing. I'm sure I'm missing stuff on the run too, but I'm trying to do you justice here. Jumping up to these munchers, not too much to say there. Here we're going to go for the POW drop strat. I say we, it's Pango's video. I would go for the POW drop strat. Very effectively too. There's not a lot of jumping and re-looping. I usually jump off of it twice, so that was very fast. Nails, of course, all of these little tiny spinner sections. And then we're on to the final Bowser. One thing that this video does do that I want to learn is jumping up on top of the fire cannon, the fire flower cannon, so you never get hit by the fire flower. I think Pango does it to make sure he can go as soon as that cannon clears and gets the space ready, so you'll see him go up and then jump on top of this cannon so he's lined up and ready to go as soon as the gap is cleared. I want to do this just so I never get accidentally hit by fire flower again, and then this is our traditional Bowser skip. Now, Pango, I hope this wasn't a secret, but he's been working on some more consistent ways to skip Bowser. That is an RNG skip the way that it's done there, where you just run at Bowser and duck and hope for the best. I think it was like a 60% chance that you get that one, so it's not the worst odds, but that's a rough one if you're on good pace or you're close to it. You don't necessarily want to take that trick. But that is an incredibly optimal version of 16.4, so, oh, there goes my split record. Well, I was going to say, and it saves so much time. Look at all that time it saves. Look at how different the time is. Look at how far ahead we are. Isn't that great? Yeah. It's okay. I have one chance to redeem myself in World 17 before we hit the end of the run. Whew. What's the consistency strat for Bowser? Waiting. And then that gives you more time to react, and then you can jump over his head or you can duck underneath him. So for this video, we do things a little bit more optimally. The time save that I'm missing is I do not go as fast as possible when we get to this like box section here. Because of the way that I hold my 3DS and the way my buttons are, I do not run all the way during that section. That's one way that you could get faster than my time here in RTA. But the other parts of this are pretty much the same as normal. Yeah, 1/3. It's, yeah, Pango showed me a sheet that had it at 60%, so I don't know. I don't know, Pango, I hope you were ready to talk about that, because guess what I just brought into the stream and told everyone in the community about, so surprise! There's new strats in the way. Happy Mario Day, everyone. 17. I'm so glad it's Mario Day. I've been telling everyone at work that it's Mario Day, and they're all kind of just like, but why though? And then I explain it, and they're like, that's weird. People really like are excited about this, and I'm like, yes, I am. Are people excited? I don't know, but I'm excited. So for this one, it's just a lot of really clean movement. There is one trick in here that is technically slower for RTA, but because the movement was the cleanest, it's just this is still the fastest video I have. And that's going to be when we try to exit the pipe. I specifically get a mushroom so I can damage boost through the pipe explosion and get to the pipe sooner. If we were to do this optimally RTA, we would not take that extra mushroom that I'm going to get in this room, and we would not damage boost through the bomb explosion. We would just go through the bomb normally. But again, the rest of the movement here, pretty darn squeaky clean, so that's why this video is in. But if anyone wants to do this video but RTA, so we don't do this particular strat here, this is the one spot where we're damage boosting to get up to that pipe sooner than the explosion would let us do otherwise, which saves a little bit of time in game time. That would be the time save for the RTA version of this level. You like fixed texts? Fixed texts. That is hard to say. Why is that a tongue tester? Fix experiments? Yes. Having data is very, very helpful. Very useful thing to have. 17.3. What is 17.3? Why am I blanking on what levels are in the game that I speedrun? Like, this is my speedrun game. This is the game that I speedrun. I'm just sort of blanking. Oh yeah, by the way, current world record's still in Bowser. It's gonna actually do a fire kill on Bowser. So for this one, the main thing is we do challenge the Hammer Brother a lot more aggressively than normal. Oh, this isn't actually super fast because we have a better way of handling that cloud. Interesting. I didn't realize that was missed. but we actually challenge that Hammer Brother and run through him as opposed to just sort of waiting for a bomb to explode him. The second half of this, again, there will be a little bit of damage taken, so that's another potential time save here, but I like that we can sort of duck through that gap. That's a very fast way to do the first part without taking damage. For the second part, we will use our damage boost here to skip going around that section. So that's something we could time out to see what's actually faster in that particular iteration. So there we go, more fast things. So many fast things in this game. You can save like a whole second with RTA strats. I think so, because it's half a second to get the mushroom, half a second to do the damage boost. So you could save a second over that by having the same clean movement, but not doing the damage boost through the pipe at the end, if that makes sense. You'd have to wait for the explosion, so you lose a little bit there, but yeah, about a second. So pretty correct. Talk about it later. Awesome. Bing bong. Hello. Yes, we're doing lots of bouncing around as Mario today. So this level is all about the ending. This is going to be a platform scroller in this bottom room, and the first part of the platform scroller is just don't get hit by anything, whatever you feel like doing. The very last part, I'm going to stand on the very, very rightmost edge of the platform. I will be like on a pixel of the platform, so I can spawn a Goomba as early as possible. And I will use a mushroom to damage boost through a piranha plant to jump off of the Goomba at the right angle to make it to the end of the level. I don't know if it's faster to try to just jump on the Goomba in a different configuration. I really don't want to figure that out. But here we go, at the very edge of that platform to spawn that Goomba as soon as possible. That's where I've triggered it, so I'll run back to get some speed. We jump through the piranha plant so we can get enough height on that Goomba to land at the very edge of the platform. So that's a very tricky jump to land that, again, is not something we normally go for any percent, but there it is. There's a cool trick that you will have never seen if you've only watched me speedrun the game and you haven't seen the community's individual level attempts. Polonxy, sometimes I don't know what your words mean, but I'm glad you're here. 17.5. What are we doing in 17.5? Enemies with tail. So this jump at the very beginning, where I jump over the platform, is something I try to go for on every single attempt I do, but I almost never get it. And it's safe to go for because otherwise you're waiting for the bottom platform anyway. So that's just a fun thing you can try to do. It's actually really bad if I do get that skip because I forget what to do next. So it's kind of good that I never get it. But going above and around that platform is the key time save for what is otherwise a very straightforward level that doesn't have a lot of moving pieces. 17.6 is the opposite of that. It is all moving pieces, it is all conveyor belts, and your main goal here is to just jump every frame if you're on a backwards conveyor belt and be on the conveyor belts moving forward for as long as possible. One thing that we're hypothesizing will save time here, that I think someone's already looked into, is you can skip some of these power-ups, and again, skipping power-ups is going to save you a little bit of time. This was an IL, so it doesn't really matter, and for any percent I still do get all the power-ups, they're kind of in the way, but if you were to dodge some of the power-ups, you could save time by not waiting through the 0.5 second power-up animation every single time you got one. So options to do there. I'm trying to remember to drink tea. I'm trying to be healthy, team. I'm not great at it though, so you don't mind me to do that too along with splitting. For 17.7, the key is going to be around how you get the initial boo to follow you. So normally we just sort of hang out at the right side of the room and wait for it to get all the way to the right, but you can get up early. If you stay next to it, it will go down faster because it's trying to get towards you, and if you're closer, it has a sharper angle down, and that's how you save time on specifically the opening of this level. The next time save is right at the very end. I usually will run into the flagpole base to make sure I don't hit the boo ring because they'll bounce backwards once you do that, but if you do a very, very small jump, like the smallest jump Mario can do, you can get to the flagpole without slowing down. I actually, when I run this, will change my hand configuration so I have a dedicated button for that, like switch up so my thumb is in charge of pressing that, because my thumb can't handle that delicate of an operation. So I don't usually do that for any percent, but that is, again, a very slight optimization at the end. Here's 17.8 though. If you haven't watched any of the levels so far, which that would be a weird thing to do if you're hanging out on someone's stream and didn't want to watch their stuff. But like, hey, you're welcome to hang out anyway if you just like to hear me talk, because I do talk a lot. The ending of this, I'm going to do without Yoshi. If you're familiar with this level, you already know why that's ridiculous, but what we're going to do is we're going to set up a specific fireball here that's going to destroy some bombs that are in our way, and usually we'd have to wait for Yoshi to go up this elevator contraption to get back to us, but instead, I'm not going to wait for Yoshi, I'm just going to go ahead without him. That's fine, we can do this, but the problem is you're now dealing with random Hammer Brothers that are very much out to get you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to wall jump even to get momentum back and forth and dodge underneath every single one of these hammers in order to get through them without that. And you're not done here. Bowser has a chance to jump and ruin your day because it's a rock, paper, scissors game, and if you guess wrong, you're dead. So definitely not recommended for any percent. Please bring Yoshi with you. But if you hit the 1 in 8 luck and the Hammer Brothers line up correctly for this strat, it is like luck based whether or not the Hammer Brothers cooperate and give you the openings you need to do this optimally, you can hit that strat. So there you go, you will have never seen that strat on stream, except for when I'm Panic trying to get through the level without Yoshi, and even then it doesn't look like that. It looks like Panic. That was also Panic, but less visibly. You couldn't see the Panic because I wasn't on screen for it, so there we go. Music intensifies Mission Impossible. You talk more than a lot? Wow. You're not wrong. So for this one, this is a clown car list strat that Pango came up with, where you'll see that he uses the bloopers that are flying through the air to ascend up to the pipe that you need to go through without needing to use the clown car at all. Clown cars are slower, so anytime we can avoid using them, we're going to, and that's going to show up as well later on in the level, where he's going to skip through clown cars as opposed to sort of driving in a straight line. I do want to see if I can learn one of them. The one into the blooper right at the start seems really neat. The other ones are scary. For this though, we do have to just clear out these enemies, but you'll see he jumps out, which is not something we normally do, and then uses a fireball as he's jumping down to kill that blooper and steal its ride as early as possible. He's going to do that a second time over here with the Hammer Brother on the right. It's dead before you even see it on screen. Oh no, he did see it on screen. And does twirl jumps over deadly lava. Again, the lava is death here. There's no safety in order to skip even more clown car time and save more time overall.
Yes, yes.
I do have all of World 17. I just think no one else wants to do 17 because of how much the dumb randomness is in some of those. At least you bet someone will beat this run. Anyone is welcome to try, but it's not fun. That's what I will say. Is what... I didn't split! Dang it! Oh. Okay. I just need to get the final split. It's fine. We can do this. The thing to watch out for this one is how far you go on the conveyor belts before you chicken out and jump. You're trying to get to the third notch on the third conveyor belt. You can see how close you got by how close you are to that wiggler. You can see Polonxy just barely dodges hitting that wiggler, and that's how you know he got a really, really clean conveyor jump. That's why this particular run is the fastest for that. So, yeah. Yes, the RTA viable. No, please don't. Straps be modified, but the second half. Oh, for 18-1, you can do the second. Yeah, second half, the clown car skipping, I think, would be RTA viable. The first half with the bloopers, I don't think would make a lot of sense, but it is Pango's run, so up to him to say what is more possible. You're glad you made a better video for this? We have, as a community, generally updated our videos over the years, but there's just a lot of them. For 18-3, this is back to JuiceACD. I think this is potentially his final appearance in this video, which is, we miss you, but it's really neat. Lots of just clean movement through these sections. So normally, like, if I'm doing any percent, I'll wait for the boo ring to line up to give me access to that key. He just sort of takes one out and dives in without asking. Some other things in the next upcoming, well, not the next upcoming, the next upcoming room is going to be the Bowser Jr. fight, and he does get the correct RNG, which is Bowser Jr. hopping backwards, so there's a time save right there. There it is, 50% chance probably, and got it. Woo! That's one of like weirder like RNG things in this game. Watch how he jumps up through this checkpoint though. So normally when you're doing this checkpoint you'll jump into it and then jump up, but he's lining up trying to get as much speed as possible to get to these platforms early. This is like the optimization that got him the fastest time on this level. Very aggressively clean jumping through those coins as well. The rest of the level is going to be pretty standard compared to what you normally see, but that particular room I think is incredibly impressive in terms of just, there is no fear going for those coins. He is flying towards every single one of them to make sure he can collect them, and I wish I was that confidently aggressive when I did that run. I am very hesitant in that particular room, and it's one of my weaknesses on this level. From here though, again, standard stuff. If you haven't seen this level before, it is a cool level in any percent, but from here on out, if you're an any percent runner, it's like, okay, and then you did the rest of the level. That middle room, I think, is the part that impresses me the most. I just think it's neat. Oh. This was really a cool video to put together. It was a lot of work, but I'm very proud to see, as a community, how fast we do go in this game, so yay! Oh yeah, when you're recording not on a computer, like, trying to get everything set up is always an adventure. I usually record like in my computer chair now, and my posture's still awful, but like it's better than when I was recording on the floor with a coffee table with a phone on top of it. So you know we made progress. 18-4, this is Bowser fights. This is a very aggressive version of the Bowser fights that is not really safe for any person. So the biggest difference here is this first Bowser I will fire kill. You can do the Bowser fire kill in any percent by getting a Shelmet for safety, or if Bowser trolls you and doesn't do the jump. Usually I'm aiming for Bowser to jump through the platform. As you can see here, I'm getting really, really close and hoping he doesn't jump too much, and that's what gives me the space and time I need to take him out faster than I would normally do. So it's very aggressive. You need good Bowser RNG to get that pattern. But again, it was an IL, so I could get good Bowser RNG by just trying to level over and over again, which is a luxury you don't have for any percent. For the second Bowser, it's kind of the same as what we do for any percent. It's just an aggressive, very up close and personal kill. This is not a sniper shot. This is like machine gun right next to him. We're just trying to hit him as fast as possible, staying nearby, because the sooner you hit him, the sooner you can fire your next fireball. You're kind of limited to about 2 on screen for a certain period of time, and so if you hit him, that clears one of your fireballs and you can immediately fire it again. So you want to be as close as you can to him in order to do that section optimally. I'm sure you could do that faster than what I did by getting even closer, but that wasn't too bad. You know, that was pretty close. That was a very fast level. 18.5, the only thing you're trying to do is make sure you hit the goalpost. You don't want to miss the goalpost and have to hit it later. You just want to hit it. That's it. That's the level. Oh. There was a stair jump? Oh, not full momentum. Yeah, there's a stair jump kind of in 18.3, but yeah, Juice is right. Since you're not at full momentum, it's way more consistent than trying to hit any of the other ones. But yeah, we're out of full momentum stair jump. So this level, again, all you're trying to do is land so that when you finish the level, you're at the height of that goal. That's it. There's your optimization. You can tie this IL. It's very, very nice. Emerald Eye, hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well. We're celebrating Mario Day. We're almost at the end of our run, though. We only have 3 levels left of this community any percent run. 18.6 is going to be back to Polonxy. I believe this is Polonxy's final appearance. We're in the final world, so it's everyone's final appearance at this point. And the key thing here is his ending. Like, the level's really clean. You'll see that he does a lot of extra setup on this platform at the beginning that you wouldn't see in most any percent runs. Well, he'll be at the end of this platform very particularly. He's going to get a ton of momentum to jump earlier than normal and get all the way to this saw without having to slow down or do a flutter. Fluttering slows Yoshi down, so you want to avoid it when possible. The next thing he's going to do always gives me a heart attack. He's going to drop Yoshi there, which is way earlier than normal, and use that to get 2 bounces off of the bombs and reach the goalpost without having to bounce off of any of that pyramid of saws, which is usually one of the pieces of that level that you do interact with and that does slow you down. So very, very clean ending there. I don't know how hard that is, but it looks terrifying, especially given that it's the 3rd to last level. If you're on good pace and trying to hit that, my hands will be shaking very, 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 very badly. 18.7 will be my final appearance for the run. Obviously, I'm still on camera, but this is my last time where I am the one controlling Mario in the recording. And the key reason that I have this IL is because I was the first person to remember to bring a shell to the final section of the level. That's it. That's the whole thing. I also have done a lot of work to make sure that we have consistent setups for getting avoiding red wigglers in this level, so I have done work on this level to make it consistent. But the key thing is, in this theme, if you are holding a shell, Mario swims faster. The very final screen of this level is not an auto-scroller. So if you are holding a shell, you will get just a little bit faster to the final screen and to the goalpost. And that's it. That was the difference between the previous IL attempts and what I was able to put together. So that is why I have the honor of being the first person to get this IL time. Woo! Sometimes it just is that simple. What we're actually doing here, though, is we're staying near the bottom of the screen in this section to avoid the bloopers. We're going to follow the coin trail up and to the right after the blooper section. That is hit a hidden block, and that is not because we need extra lives. You'll notice we're back in IL mode. There's no lives counter. That is to prevent angry red wigglers from spawning in. If we were to let that bullet bill launcher do its thing, it would launch underwater angry red wigglers, which is a terrifying enemy that you never want to have to deal with. We're going to do another one of those here where we're sort of waiting in a specific spot to work with the spawn behavior of that particular bullet bill launcher, hit another hidden block, and we're sort of home free from here on out. Why is the word fast on the timer? Because I keep forgetting to split, and the point I'm trying to make is that we're going fast, and so I just gave up and put the word fast there, so every time I don't split, it still tells you that we're going fast. So, yeah, Juice explained it. There we go. I just have to hit the final one so we know what the final time is. For anyone who guessed earlier, 140 is not it, unfortunately. 141's not looking good either because the final level's long, but it's a lot faster than it would be if I was doing it. So, yay! Without saving an in-game second. There's so many different cool things to, like, save time in this game. So here it is. Here is the optimization. Do you see that I'm holding a shell as I go through this pipe? Watch this. Ready? Ready? I go slightly faster to this goalpost. Time saved. That's it. That's the time saved. Anyway, final level is going to be 18.8. That's coming up next, and that's going to be back to Pango. There is a lot going on in this one. I will try to keep up and get everything together for it, but we're getting very close to the end of the run. So this is the final level. I am going to reposition, put my T down so I can split when we hit this axe and we can see what the final time is. I'm going to try really hard. World record, by the way, is still chilling back in 18.5, so we're pretty far ahead of it. So the beginning, this intro looks about the same, but we're actually only going to go into the bottom room once. Only one time. We're going to skip the spring, so keep that in mind. So we get the shell, do all this stuff as normal, very optimally, very quickly, very nice, but still. In this bottom room, something that Pango did differently than I think previous ILs is he does not jump from the spring directly to the pipe at the top of the room. He's going to bounce off the spring, a small jump, land on the platform, and jump up into the pipe, which I think does make it a little bit faster. But keep in mind, we're not coming back to that room, so we'll want to keep our eye out for that skip. This room, pretty much the same way everyone else does it, but again, very, very fast and optimally. And then we're going to go straight to that top right. The reason I'm emphasizing that so much is because this skip did not exist until this IL came out. What Pango's going to do is he's going to pick up the shell, do wall jumps while holding the shell, which is tricky, and then use it to do a specific jump to get up to that platform without needing the spring whatsoever. You still need the key, which is why I have to do all the other stuff in that intro area, but still very, very fast. I don't even know what it would take to do that in any % run on nerves, but that's really cool. Here he's going to use Juice's strat of hanging out on the left side of the screen to spawn the fire flower in a little bit sooner before running around to the left to go grab it, so shout out to Juice for that strat. And then he actually has a new strat for skipping the propeller room. So Polonxy came up with the strat that's used most commonly in 80% with 2 fireballs. This is the first instance of a single fireball strat. In this next room where we do get the propeller, he also came up with the strats to go underneath most of the saws. Usually we go over this next saw, nope, underneath. Over, underneath, over, underneath. That saves a lot of time off of doing things normally. I get credit for running in my face into that saw and twirling and finding out that that was fast. And my other contribution here is you'll see him go to the right side of the screen and stand on that donut block and drop it. There we go. That makes it so when he does this final jump, he has a direct line to the door instead of landing on it and having to fall a second time. So teamwork makes the dream work. We're on to the final Bowser fight. I better get ready to split because we don't actually fight Bowser. It is just blowing up the exit. So we're going to see him grab this clown car, shoot a fireball. He's not need the damage boost and time. There we go. Did I start it precisely when the start button landed? No, I will go retime this later. But our community best time for any % is a 1:43.42. Congratulations, everyone. Yay, we did it. Round of applause. This is what we used to do in kindergarten for round of applause, is you'd actually do an applause in a circle. So again, thank you so much to ThatBox, rptem, Polonxy, Pango5, JuiceACD, JDude, Darker Lord 16 for allowing me to use your videos to make this compilation. And of course to everyone who's running any ILs in our community, who's helping us find strats, helping us push those times further along. That's what made this possible today, so really do appreciate everything you've been able to help us with. World record, by the way, still stuck in the underwater level, just for reference. And that is, again, the fastest any human has managed to beat this game in one sitting. But yeah, saved almost 5 minutes. I think we could potentially assume we're going to get close to saving 5 minutes over world record. That is the end of the video. I didn't include the credits because you don't really need them for this. We'll let the world record finish. It'll get there eventually. So yeah, this is where I had planned to go through and show you what the time save was in different worlds, but you know, I'm me and we didn't get most of the splits in. You can see a little bit for World 8, like not too much there. Out of these middle ones, what is the boot one? I can't even see it right now. Wait, what world is this? This is 12, 11, 10. World 10 and World 11 had a little bit of extra time save, like those were about 15 seconds each, which is pretty awesome. World 13, almost 30 seconds, primarily I think due to that 13-2 skip with the P-switch jump. That's a pretty big time save there. And then, what other ones did we have that I actually remember to split for? 15 as well. Nailing all of the skips in the auto-scrollers there, especially for 15-4, saves a decent chunk of time. I would love to tell you how much time we saved in World 16, but I have no freaking clue, so there you go. It's just a lot, because between World 15 and World 18, we save an additional 2 minutes over the world record, which is a very significant jump. We only save about 2 minutes up until World 15, and the last 3 worlds, that's where the heavy-hitting strats really start to come in, and we save the majority of the time over the current world record. So what's neat is if we wanted to somehow, as an any % running community, adopt every single strat you saw here and start to nail them all, we could get sub 145s. I think for me, the main thing that I learned from this is that sub 145 is possible. I actually wasn't sure if it would be, and this video completely crushes that. It very much shows that it is a possible thing to aim for. Would you need to have some really adventurous strats in your run and nail all of your execution? Absolutely. But getting a 145 and then aiming for a sub 145 is something that a person could do. How long would it take them? Does anyone have the patience for that? I don't know, but this is what we can learn now as a community based on the times that we've submitted. So once again, thank you so much. Oh yeah, if you want to see my 18.8 looks nothing like Penguin's. You can just see how much time is saved in that one level alone. But thank you again to everyone who's been working on ILs for this game. Everyone who agreed to be a part of this video, really appreciate that, because that's the only reason this video exists, is because I was able to borrow from all the talented speedrunners of this community. I cannot do half of those epic tricks, so collaboration for the win. Oh, thanks for the GGs, everyone. Appreciate it. Sorry, I just realized I was not looking at chat, so I didn't catch up on that. There's a circle pad strat? Ooh, love to see. We do like time saves. Time saves are great. Yeah, so the guesses for 140, 141 were a little bit adventurous. It is closer to 143. Again, did I exactly start us at the right time? Maybe not. So it may be a little bit around either side, but I think in the 143 ranges is pretty set. That was amazing. I think it was amazing too. There's just some really, really incredible things coming into this. So yeah. GG everyone. Current world record is now in the propeller room. So you can see the normal strats that we take. We do go over the saws instead of underneath some of them. So that's what you're seeing here. As well, I don't do the damage boosting through that final saw because you don't really want to be damage boosted on the Bowser Jr. fight if you can help it. It's really difficult to get the twirl timing correct because you're coming out of a damage boost in order to do it. Here you can see my Bowser Jr. fight. Because I didn't lose the propeller in the previous room, I will have to drop the mushroom going into the final Bowser. You can see I do have my donut block strat, though it's there. So in this final Bowser room, I'll have to take an extra damage against the spike in the middle of the room in order to get down to small Mario size and make it through the one tile gap that's opened up by blasting it with fire. So here's my fireball, here is my damage to get underneath it, and there is time for the world record, which again is much slower. 148, which again is still the world record for this game. It is still a very, I'm still very, very proud of that run. I think I did a really good job on it. I'm excited that I got that, but it's definitively slower than this. I need to remember not to save this so I can have my own world record split still. I went to go check my splits like, oh yeah, what was that time? I don't know. We got a 143.42. We're good. Yeah. Thank you everyone who joined to watch this video with me. I was very excited about it. Again, really appreciate that you let me make this. You let me make this and let me put this together and show it off. And again, thank you to everyone who joined me for celebrating Mario Day by watching this community compilation best run. It means a lot to be able to share something like this with the community people, and just, you can tell hopefully that I'm excited about this, and being able to share it with other people and be able to talk about how cool this really is and why this is such an incredible achievement means a lot to me. Thank you again, one more time, everyone who who watched, who chatted, who was excited with me for this video, and thank you again, Mario Maker community, for being able to do something like this. This was awesome. Just hearts to all of you.